Board of Fire Commissioners special meeting. Today is Tuesday, December the 7th, 2021, and the time is 9 a.m. Ms. Gomez, can we have a roll call, please?
Woods Gray.
I hear.
Babcock. Commissioner Hara.
Here.
Ibarra.
Here.
Ninberg.
Here.
Fire Chief Terrazas. Or whom is in his place today?
That'll be me. I'm acting fire chief today, Chief Crowley.
Thank you, Chief. And Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Chief Crowley, will you lead us in the flag salute and the moment of silence at this time, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please stand for the flag salute. Hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of the past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief Crowley. And at this time, we have our commissioners' Ms. Gomez, you want to do the blurb about the rules of the meeting?
Yes, thank you. Let the record reflect that there were no written public comments received via the LAFD Fire Commission general email. Persons may listen to this meeting live by dialing any of the numbers listed on the cover of the agenda for this meeting. Should you dial one of these numbers, you will be able to listen to the meeting, but will not be able to give public comment during the meeting. Anyone wishing to address the Board of Fire Commissioners on any item on the agenda or to provide general public comment should call 1-669-900-9128. When you are asked for a meeting ID number, please enter 822-4190-6351, followed by the pound sign. Then press the pound sign again to continue. You will then be joined into the meeting. To alert the board that you want to give public comment, press *9. You will be called on by board staff, who may refer to you using the last 3 digits of the phone number you are calling from. When unmuted by staff, press *6. And please state your name. As a general reminder, public comment will be limited to 1 minute per agenda item, up to 2 minutes allowed for agenda items. At the request of the speaker will be afforded an initial 1 minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total per speaker. Time cannot be ceded to another speaker, and an individual may speak only once during the public comment period. Only those who are in the queue when the President begins the public comment section of the agenda will be allowed to speak. These instructions may also be found on the front page of the meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to item 1, which is commission comments. Are there any commissioners who would like to comment at this time?
Commissioner Hara, yes.
Good morning, Commissioner Hara.
Okay, it's been a busy couple of weeks, actually. On November the 28th, I attended the Hollywood Christmas Parade, and it was just Phil, who was a driver, and Armando Hogan and I were the only people on the bandwagon. So just the 3 of us, and they actually had us lead the parade. So
very good.
It was a pretty large crowd, surprisingly, and we got to finish early because we led the parade, and we didn't have to wait for all the other bands and groups and floats and what have you. And then on the 1st of December, I guess along with President Jimmy Woods Gray, I attended the Deloitte stakeholder meeting and the workshop, and I thought it was a very productive meeting. And then on this past Sunday, December the 5th, I attended the Spirit of San Pedro holiday parade. Here again, this time we didn't ride the bandwagon because they had car trouble getting to the parade. And so therefore, Task Force 48 ended up giving the ride to Chief Villanueva and myself and Council Member Buscaino. And here again, I was surprised at the large turnout for the parade, and it's kind of nice to be back in the flow of having parades again.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hart, for representing the commission always. And it is exciting to be out there with the people. I know that you are happy that they are doing the in-person. I did see some pictures from the different events, and there were a good number of people who I was surprised were out and ready to celebrate. So that's wonderful. Very good. Are there other commissioners who would like to comment? Commissioner Ninberg.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome, Chief Crowley. Hi, Madam President. I just want to request, just because of the issues that are going on, the fallout and whatnot, I'd like to get a report back on the vaccination status of both civilian and sworn, and separated out, as well as suspensions, where we're at. I mean, I heard dismissals and what the Board of Rights process is. I'd like to get that as well, just so we understand the landscape of where we're at. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there other comments?
Thank you, Dr. Hara, for representing, and Chief Hogan as well. So, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, I'd like to simply note that Commissioner Babcock has joined the meeting.
Oh, good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. And I do have a quick comment. I was able to attend the Fda Academy Graduation. I believe it was class 21-1 a couple weeks ago, and believe we graduated. My numbers are going to be off because it's been a while, between 52 and 54 new firefighters. So it was, at least from the naked eye, a very diverse class. But I know that when Chief Terrasas went through the numbers that day and was announcing different folks from different areas of whether it was education, we did have 2 women, which I know is still not enough, but there were 2 women, and one of the women was actually the top of the class. So something we should be proud of as well. So it was an honor to represent the commission and attend that day.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Commissioner Babcock, for attending that.
Thank you.
And this is Delia.
Commissioner Ibarra.
So I wasn't able to attend the graduation because I had a work-related deadline, but I would be remiss if I didn't obviously congratulate all of the graduates who will be imminently joining or have joined our department. And also, of course, she's a graduate of Stanford, so go Trees. Second, I've gotten a brief update on the vaccination numbers, and I think we're at 83%, which is now exceeds the county and city vaccination numbers in general. And I think that's fantastic, and you should congratulate and thank all of the members who have gotten vaccinated. It's not been an easy road getting here, but it's a significant milestone. I hope we get to 100%, barring any genuine exceptions based on actual medical or sincere religious beliefs. On a related note, we had a deeply unsettling incident at a fire station on the west side by a member who got an official notification of noncompliance. There's an investigation ongoing, and our investigation takes time, but even if some or part of the allegation is true, given the severity of the claims of the wrongdoing by that one member, that member should be taken by a board of rights to a board of rights and should lose their job, period. Any other member who reacts in a similar fashion as that reported member should be prepared to formally and forever end their relationship with the department. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Ibarra. Are there any other comments? I think we heard from almost everyone there. Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Commissioners, for your comments and for all of the time that you put in to support the commission. It is appreciated, and the fire department appreciates seeing real fire commissioners, so that's really good. I know they've told us that in the past. They never saw as many commissioners as they do now, so that's really good. That is really good. Okay, let's move on with our agenda. The next item is a report of the fire chief. And Chief Crowley, welcome. I think you're the one doing that today.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Madam President, as well as Vice President Hara and Commissioners. Good to see everybody. Again, my name is Kristen Crowley, Acting Chief Deputy of our Administrative Operations. And for today's meeting, I'll be the Acting Fire Chief in place of Chief Terrazas, who is attending a Fire Scope Board meeting in Sacramento today, and he'll be returning tomorrow. So in regard to the fire chief's report, he attended 3 different meetings and conferences. To start with, on Friday, November 19th, he did attend the graduation of Recruit Class 21-1. On Monday, November 29th, he attended the Cal Chiefs Medical Director Conference. And lastly, on Wednesday, December 1st, he attended the LAFD Organizational and Training Assessment Stakeholder Workshop. I'd also like to provide a brief update regarding the vaccination numbers. And yes, you're correct, Commissioner. We are currently at 83% fully vaccinated on the LAFD, and that does include the sworn and civilian members. Also, all procedures within the city's vaccination ordinance are being followed, and our goal is to continue to move forward to have a fully vaccinated workforce. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Crowley. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Ms. Gomez.
Yes, Madam Chair. I note that there are 3 hands raised. The first number is 818, ending in 575, and the last number is 310, ending in 253. So those are the individuals we'll be recognizing this morning. Let me request that they unmute. Number ending in 575, I've requested that you unmute.
Hi, I just
Good
want to
morning.
make, hi, good morning.
Is
My
it
name's
general
Michelle.
public comment for you, Ms. Ma'am, or on specific agenda items?
General public comment.
Very well. Thank you so much. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. So my name is Michelle, calling from Northridge. And I was really disturbed about the LA Times article with the fire. One of the commissioners, I believe, mentioned it. I agree. He took the mandate and wiped his rear end with it. He should be terminated for sure. Also, I just, it's great that we're getting more firemen and women vaccinated. I am hopeful that we will get to 100% because I just, as a public, as somebody living in public life, I do not want any EMTs or firemen in my house that are unvaccinated. That puts everybody in danger. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next number is area code 714, ending in 403. I'm requesting to unmute.
Hello.
Good morning. Are you commenting on only general public comment or specific agenda items?
General comment, please.
Very well. Thank you so much. You have 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Libby, and I'd like to thank the LAFD for moving forward with the vaccine mandate. Although it saddens me that we are losing firefighters, I am pleased by the reports on ABC7 that indicate LAFD is holding firefighters responsible for their decisions and will not be allowing unvaccinated people to continue putting citizens at risk. Firefighting is a disciplined career. Individuals don't get to pick and choose which orders to follow in an emergency. Disregarding the vaccine mandate is the same thing. Ultimately, I think it will be a good thing to remove those that don't want to comply with orders. We will end up with a department that is stronger and more cohesive. On that note, I hope that the LAFD will hold the firefighter who wiped his backside with his vaccine non-compliance letter fully responsible for his actions. I would never want someone that is that immature to be making life or death decisions for me or my family. The latest reporting I've seen states that the firefighter is on paid leave. I don't understand why he's continuing to be paid after such an egregious act. That should be grounds for immediate termination. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Caller in 310, ending in number 253. I've requested that you unmute.
Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, will you be speaking on general public comment or any specific agenda items?
Good morning. I'm going to be speaking on general comment, commission comments, and agenda item 5A.
Okay, very well. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam President, all fire commissioners, Acting Chief Crowley, Deputy City Attorney, and to the management and staff of the LAFD. My name is Robert Hawkins, and I serve as the Executive Vice President for the Centurion organization. My purpose here today is to share with you some troubling and disturbing racist rhetoric recently posted by members of the LAFD. Centurions find it appalling that members of this organization are allowed to behave in such a condescending, disrespectful, and unprofessional manner. The group that calls itself Firefighters for Freedom have chosen to spread insensitive and hateful posts designed to create a racial, gender, and social divide within the LAFD. The question I pose today is simple. How long will the administration allow this behavior to persist? Why are some allowed to violate policies, practices, and procedures of this organization, while those who support the city's policies and ordinance are subject to childish and selfish behavior? The Centurions are concerned that these individuals will create irreparable harm to this organization. Will you continue to stand by while the credibility of the LAFD continue to erode as public trust is compromised by the actions of this non-compliant few? We have asked this body before, what does zero tolerance mean? Why are city leaders hesitant to enforce it? What will it take to hold members accountable? Sadly, our questions remain unanswered. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I noted that there were 2 callers that were coming in just as we were starting public comment. Number beginning in area code 805, ending in 105. I'm requesting to unmute. And the last call will be area code 657, ending in 406. Good morning, sir. Are you speaking on general public comment or specific agenda items?
General public comment, commission comments, and 5A.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Ralph, Chief Terrazas, everyone. Freddie Escobar, President of the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, representing over 3,400 brothers and sisters of the LAFD. First, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and getting ready for Christmas. You've lacked the support of the proposed budget that Chief Terrazas is submitting, which calls for full funding of 4 drill towers in 2022 and 2023, along with more sworn field support, staffing resources, and equipment for our firefighters. We're thankful that the Chief is currently expanding the drill tower capacity and pushing for funding to continue operating our academy at full strength for the next 18 months. We need these firefighters because our staffing crisis is as bad as I can remember it being in my 32 career with the LAFD. Even before losing any bodies to the pandemic or the mandate, we're already short more than 300 firefighters in what continues to be one of the most understaffed urban fire departments in America. Now more than ever, we need to keep the experienced, dedicated firefighters that we have in the LAFD, and we add the additional bodies that are needed to serve Los Angeles City. I've made UFLAC's position on this mandate clear from the beginning. I support the vaccine. I am vaccinated. Well over 80% of all LAFD personnel are currently fully vaccinated, but we simply can't afford to lose any current firefighters due to this mandate. We're already having a difficult time filling our positions on a daily basis. The problem will only get worse if we lose more firefighters to unexpected early retirement, suspensions, or terminations over this mandate. The strain of our firefighters during the staffing crisis has never been greater, but the men and women of our department are still finding a way to make it work. I hope that the city will find a way to avoid terminating the men and women who have served Los Angeles with dedication for so many years, especially the last 20 months. There has to be a better way moving forward, and I challenge this body to find that way and assist in staffing our fire department and serving the community we love to serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number ending in 706, I've requested that you unmute. Number 706, I've requested again that you unmute. Please press *6. For the third time, I've asked to unmute. Your hand is raised. Number ending in 706. Please press *6, or we'll be continuing with the meeting. Madam Chair, I'm not receiving a response from that number.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gomez, and we'll continue. Perhaps that was a mistake, or maybe they can't, they're muted.
Yeah, accidentally.
I don't know if they can't unmute or what.
They have to *6 in order to unmute themselves.
Oh, and they
So I've given that info a couple of times, but maybe they accidentally raised their hand. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. We'll continue on with our meeting. The next item is item 4. Determination under the Government Code section regarding our virtual meetings. Is there any discussion of this particular item? Are there questions for the city attorney, or is there a motion?
I have a question. So is this just for December, and are we going to have to vote again in January?
So this is Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen. The determinations are good for 30 days. The last determination that was made was on Thursday, December 2nd. So that will take us out to January 2nd. The reason why it's included on today's agenda is because during the holidays, there's a real possibility that meetings will be canceled. And so if we cancel the currently scheduled December 16th meeting, then we would need to have a special meeting just to make this determination. So this agenda item is included here so that we don't need to, because we're already meeting, and it would obviate the need to have a special meeting just to make that determination to continue the virtual meetings under the relaxed rules of the Brown Act.
Commissioner Ibarra, clarification. I know December 16 was mentioned, but actually it's December 21st.
Oh, I'm
next
sorry.
meeting. Just housekeeping.
Okay. I would like to go back in person in January. So I definitely want to continue this through the end of the year. But we had mentioned during our prior discussion, I think there seemed to be some consensus that we would go back around January. So maybe not the first meeting in January, because that's also right around the holidays. But I'd like for us to have a discussion about going back maybe for the second meeting in January.
I don't believe there was consensus about going back in January. I think we were waiting to see what was going on with the virus and with this new variant, and going into winter. Things are obviously, there was this, in November, October, September, things were going down here, but they are going up. I am not comfortable with going into an enclosed environment, certainly when people are not 100% vaccinated.
For the January meeting, is this a discussion we need to have at the first January meeting? And then decisions can be made for the February meeting?
We don't need to make a determination today, but we would need to make it before January 2nd or on January 2nd.
Oh, I know. We need to vote. We need to vote on this motion today, just so that we have by time through January 7th.
Correct.
And within that time, we actually have a regular meeting in January.
Wait, when is the January meeting? Is it
January 4th?
The 4th. So it's before the 7th.
Correct.
So we have to meet before the 4th.
We need to meet before the 7th. If we continue virtually, but we'll meet. Our regular meeting is on the 4th, so that it actually brings us within the timeline for the virtual meetings.
Okay, so we'll just have that for another.
Well, I mean, unless we decide right now that the next time we meet, if it's not in December, that we can go in person, and then we don't have to. Because we're actually having extra meetings now.
I think the way we're heading now, Commissioner, is that we won't have to have special meetings because we're voting ahead. And the next meeting is the 4th.
So we don't have a December 21st meeting?
Well, we don't know.
Okay.
We take count every
So just
meeting.
clear, President Woods Gray, the issue at hand is to vote now, and City Attorney to extend the period of meeting virtually until January 7th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And to Commissioner Ibarra's point, if we go to January 7th, 2022, our next meeting is the 4th. We can have this conversation if we extend it another month then, or if we decide to go in person, correct?
Right. That's correct.
Okay.
Very likely, I think it's very likely that we will have, and I think the members know this, that we're going to have some determination on those members who are not vaccinated by then.
Right.
They're probably not going to be part of our department. If they don't get vaccinated, they haven't won one legal battle yet, so it's unlikely that they will still be part of our department by then. And certainly they're not going to be in the commission boardroom with us. So I think it's very likely that everybody who's going to be around is going to be fully vaccinated.
But there's a Board of Rights. They all have to go to a Board of Rights, right?
It's not a complicated process. Are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated?
But it's a Board of Rights, and there's a lot of, I've seen Board of Rights go on for years.
When they have a valid, defense, that they can exert, there's no valid defense here. You're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated. It's pretty simple.
But there's exemptions too. There's religious exemptions. There's medical exemptions.
If they're valid, they're going to still be part of our department.
Correct. So that's why I requested the report back on what that process was. Who's actually determining that?
And if they're not vaccinated, we're going to have to limit their exposure to people, including us. So I just think we're, and the Omicron virus may not be so bad for people who are vaccinated and boosted, which is, I think, most all of us. So I'm pretty comfortable, but I think we should just vote for now, and then we should revisit.
Yeah, I say we move to 30 days. What we're voting on right now is just this month.
For 30 days.
For 30 days.
Yes, it would take,
voting for 30 days.
It would take us out to January 7th.
Right. That's all we're voting on.
City Attorney, just a quick question. Are we allowed to require proof of vaccination before entering the boardroom?
And I spoke to Chief Everett about this earlier. Chief Everett, are you available right now? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you provide some information about the vaccinations of the command staff and the ability to limit the board meetings, the actual board meetings to staff members?
Sure.
To vaccinated staff members?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So
good morning,
in terms
Chief.
of the board meetings, we certainly can limit the number of personnel that are within the commission room, and those members would all be vaccinated. We would confirm that. All visitors currently to City Hall buildings have to be vaccinated as well. If we had an occasion where we had someone who has requested an exemption and is still not vaccinated, but they're pending an exemption, and they needed to report back, we could probably pipe them in virtually or have somebody else provide that report back if needed. So if you decide to come back into in-person meetings, we certainly can accommodate that with fully vaccinated people.
Chief, do you know where they hold the Board of Rights meetings?
The boards of rights are conducted in several rooms. Sometimes it's the commission room. Okay. Sometimes it's on 17. Sometimes, so it's basically any available room that's adequate in size.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. I think it is. We share that. We know President Jimmy Woods Gray had mentioned that the filtering system in the building has not been updated. So I think that this is, we're sharing, it's like you've got a room inside a big building that has not been updated. So that is unnerving.
Can we have extra air filter machines brought into that room? Because many of the places I go, they have extra machines in the rooms. Mostly doctor's offices, but
I can certainly look into that. I will just say that most of the command staff have been coming to work every day for the last 2 years, but we can certainly check into an air filtering portable system of sorts. And we can also
sorry if you guys have been coming to an unhealthy building.
Amen.
And we can also.
I also know some people have gotten COVID too, so that's disconcerting as well.
The other question is that, so the 700 people who have exemptions are waiting, they are still working.
Nobody has exemptions right now. They're just unpaid leave.
I mean,
right?
the ones who applied for the exemptions, the ones who applied.
So at this time, we're aware of about 326, I think the number is, of pending exemptions for religious and medical beliefs. Those are being processed, but I don't have 700 requests for exemptions. Right.
How many?
I'm happy to hear it's less. It's like 300.
The number changes basically hourly, and I think the last time we looked, I think yesterday when I looked, it was at 326.
Oh, okay.
And just to be clear, they're on unpaid leave. The ones who are not vaccinated, is that correct?
The members.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Oh, so my understanding is that everybody who is not vaccinated is on unpaid leave. So they're not around. They're not working. They're not working on the 18-4. They're not working anywhere.
But if they have exemptions, they are, right? They applied for an exemption.
Correct. So.
Right.
So basically, members that have filed for an exemption that are pending an evaluation of that exemption request are still able to work via testing and appropriate PPE. The members that are not vaccinated or have not reported, members that have not requested an exemption, and members that are not compliant with the testing procedures are on an unpaid leave for failure to meet a condition of employment at the time.
So are there people in City Hall East that have applied for exemptions?
I believe so.
Okay. So they're allowed to work there.
Right. They're allowed to work with testing as they maintain their testing, and they wear masks. And we all wear masks up here as well when we're in the common areas. There's guidelines that we have to follow that are put out, and so we're following those while we're here at work.
Chief, can you check on the social distancing requirement?
Yeah.
For
maybe capacity limits as well in capacity limits.
Okay.
For the commission boardroom.
Boardroom. Yeah.
And do even for vaccinated individuals, are we still required to wear masks? I still do
Yes.
whenever I'm indoors, not in my house. I wear masks. I assume that everybody's going to do that as well. But is there a requirement that they do that?
I believe that is the requirement.
All indoors, you have to wear a mask.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That is a county requirement.
Okay, so that makes me feel a lot safer if everybody else around me, vaccinated or unvaccinated, is wearing a mask.
Right. We're following those protocols here in the building. I can check on an additional or updated ventilation system for the room, and we'll also check on the capacity limits of the room as well.
And the social distancing room.
And the social distancing, yes.
Because for the horseshoe, is there enough space to social distance? Okay, now back to the motion. I mean, the item on the agenda, item number 4. Is there a motion or further discussion? Is there further discussion, or if not, is there a motion to continue with the virtual meeting?
Hi, this is Deputy City Attorney Linda Wynn again. I just wanted to clarify that the motion, should there be a motion, the motion should read something along the lines that the COVID-19 state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the board and committee members to meet safely in person.
Yes, I move to continue the virtual meetings.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second it for a vote.
I heard someone move it. Second. Okay, thank you. Ms. Gomez, will you do a roll call, please?
Looks great.
Aye.
Babcock.
Yes.
Hara. Maybe he got disconnected. I saw him. Let me come back to him. Ibarra.
Yes.
Ninberg.
Yes.
Okay, stand by. Let me put my pencil down and see if I can find him here. H-A-R. Commissioner Hara. Oh, here, your mic came back. I just saw it. I've requested that you unmute. I know you were here live with us earlier, and I see that you just came back on. I don't have the ability to unmute you myself. I can only request to unmute. So I'm requesting again. I see him in the participants list, President Woods Gray.
But he's
and
muted?
I see, yeah, he's muted, but I don't have the ability to unmute him, as you know.
Okay. Well, we'll continue, and if he wishes to register his vote when he returns, we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Now we're on item 5. Item 5 is the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone wishes to pull for discussion, or is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through H.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items A through H. Ms. Gomez, will you roll call, please?
Woods Gray,
Aye.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara, Ibarra.
Aye.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Hara.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed your vote for the other item, but we're handling number 5A through H at the moment, so I noted you as a yes. Commissioner Ibarra?
Aye.
Ninberg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next item, item 6, the regular agenda items. A is the report of the department on the final proposal of the budget for the year 2022-2023.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam President. Oh, am I still on mute?
No, we can hear you, Emilio.
Okay. Commissioners, fellow members, I am pleased to present the FY 22-23 final proposed budget. This budget was first presented on October 19th in draft form to review the department's priorities going into next year. Before I proceed, I did want to call out a correction on the figures presented in page 3 of the report. Basically, the non-departmental total of 42.5 million towards the middle of that page should be 63.4. I've communicated this change to the executive administrative assistant, so it's really just a typo and has no effect.
For record purposes, Emilio, could you please state the exact amount, because that's what I will know on the approved report.
Correct. The total should be, I'm going to read what's on there now and then the correct amount. It's,
thank you.
What's on there now is $42,555,240. The correct amount should be $63,393,546.
Thank you.
Again, it's a typo. It has no effect on the overall totals. So moving on, the department's operating budget is estimated at $797 million, which is $51 million or 6.8% above the current fiscal year. Collectively, with non-departmental requests of $63 million, the total budget requests amount to $860 million. The non-departmentals include NICLA funding for fleet replacement, technology capital funding, and there's also unappropriated balance funding for major equipment replacements and certain matching programs where we get state funds. The department's focus, as illustrated in the attachment to the board report, I'm just going to go through some of the major ones. Firefighter recruitment with 4 new academy classes to place up to 260 firefighters over the coming year. The creation of a paid fire crew civilian program that would contribute to local hiring efforts and bolster wildland field management efforts and training for wildfire response. So this would essentially create an as-needed class for fire suppression aids, which is also in use at LA County Fire Department. Staffing resources for organizational, behavioral wellness, and risk management support, including equity and inclusion objectives, psychologist staffing, injury prevention, and CPRA support. Staffing resources for fee-supported fire prevention support, including refinery safety, Reg 4 fire safety systems compliance, and plan check support. When it comes to equipment, we have end of service replacements for self-contained breathing apparatus. This would be the year 2 funding to make that $36 million request whole to replace the entire inventory of 3,000 plus SCBA systems. There's cardiac monitors. We need life cycle replacements there, as well as to bring those items to the current state of technology. And emergency apparatus under the MICLA fleet replacement program, which for next year will include a request for a light duty helicopter at a cost of approximately $3 million. There's actually two in the process of requested to be purchased. One will be supported by the Fire Foundation, on the assumption we can get matching funding through the budget process for a second unit. So that's one area where we are aligning with the budget directives to leverage our budget requests wherever possible. And finally, the department's requesting funding to keep the fleet and fireboat apparatus on a proper maintenance schedule. The boats need to be maintained on a regular schedule or the deferred maintenance can really aggravate exponentially, the longer you hold that out. So there's a $1.6 million request for that item. To continue, the only significant change from the preliminary proposed budget report is the addition of MICLA funding to address a shortfall for a fire station alerting system in the amount of $500,000. This was a project funded back in fiscal year 18-19, in the amount of $4 million to upgrade the alerting system across all fire stations and communications facilities. The funding will make whole the contract, which was executed over the last year or two, and the infrastructure costs in the current year. And that's pretty much it. I leave discussion open for any questions from the members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for all the work that you do. Are there any questions for Mr. Rodriguez? Any comments on the budget?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I just have like two questions, and these might be more geared towards the fire chief, acting fire chief. So although you would probably know, on the hand crews, the paid hand crews, are we hiring formerly incarcerated hand crews? Do you know, or are we allowing those who have had felonies to be hired?
I don't know that offhand.
Sure, I can answer that, and I think Chief Gutierrez, if he's on as well. But my understanding is that there's still a limitation to hiring a member that does have a felony on his or her record. So that has not changed. So the answer, at least to my knowledge, is at this point that hasn't been changed. So we're not hiring people with past felonies.
Okay. And do you know, has there been any discussion about that, hiring formerly incarcerated members for the?
I think even in commission in the past we've discussed it, but we haven't made any progress towards that. I know there was a limitation we thought from the city side, but we certainly can look at that issue again and see if that's something that we could consider.
That would be really great as a pathway to employment, certainly with the skills that they're already earned, So, and the $64,000, does that include, is that salary and benefits, or is that just what does that include?
That would be an as needed salary. So as needed does not incur the benefits. So again, this is intended more as a entry program. So, and persons would be hired on a part-time basis. So
okay,
64 represents only, salaries.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. And yes, and thank you for spelling out the Equity and Inclusion Bureau. If it's a bureau, is it going to have the same level as other bureaus where you're going to have a deputy chief eventually? Do you know what the plan is for that?
Emilio, I can step in on that one as well. So that is all in the plans at this point. If it is a bureau, and we're aiming high in regard to building out the infrastructure within the bureau, that specific bureau would be headed by deputy chief. So high-level command staff are in charge of that bureau with the appropriate staffing in regard to the chain of command, so that we can properly support what we need on the in the department when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, excellent. And I think, based on the study that came out, it seems like this would be money well spent. Do you have a proposal for, I know it goes to 2.5 million annually, but looking at all the other bureaus, to be really effective, what do you see that we need to really continue on, and what is the planning for that?
Right. So specifically, and it's more of a 1 to 2 year plan, and we want to get this off the ground and start the research and development side and understand from the organizational study what the recommendations are going to come from that, and then support that. So we're envisioning this bureau to build out accordingly, and we're not going to get everything all at once. We know
Right.
That's not a reality, but it appears, and for the right reason, that we have a lot of support for this. So it's going to be a 2 year plan. The first ask is just the initial ask, and then we'll ask for an additional layer within the next fiscal year to build it out accordingly. But there's so much work on the front end to build it out, to build a foundation of what we want to meet the needs of our members as well as the community, that we want to do it right. So that's what's in the works right now.
Excellent, excellent. I think as soon as, do we have a date for when the recommendations are going to come out? Do you know? Is it when that's planned?
Chief Gutierrez, if you have that, the timelines, he's been working really closely with.
Thank you. With Deloitte?
With Deloitte, yeah. I don't know if we can unmute.
I see
Chief Gutierrez.
Chief Fields has his hand up.
I wasn't clear as to why he had his hand up, but I knew it wasn't part of this report. So he does, I think, do the next report.
I do, ma'am. I know the reason I had my hand up is only to provide context to the question that you had about the fire crews, but it seemed to be answered already. That's all.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Right. So Chief Gutierrez has his hand up. If we can unmute him. If not, my recollection is that the recommendations are coming at the end of December, if not in January. So we should have the recommendations from the study, but Chief Gutierrez has the specific timelines.
I think they should be finished by the end of December.
Yes, I think that is correct.
That's quick.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners, Chief Gutierrez. Yeah, specifically on the recommendations, I try to unmute as well as get my video off start, but unfortunately it's not responding. The recommendations are starting to unfold next week. They've been working their way through the work group with all stakeholder involvement, including all administration. As once that rolls out, those recommendations will be put in, then Deloitte will next then provide a roadmap with benchmarks. And Chief Crowley is absolutely correct. We're looking at unfolding this with the recommendations by the end of December.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So we'll get a report back.
I currently have a report back on the next commission. Kind of get us to where we're at just before the recommendations. By then, it sounds like either December or January, I'll be able to actually address the recommendations. I imagine it won't be in the written report. However, I can respond to those as well as what the roadmap may look at that time in terms of prioritization. And then to answer the questions specifically to the Bureau, it is a 2-year plan, like Chief Crowley had mentioned, and there's so much, like she had mentioned as well, in terms of laying out the foundation, the R&D. This is really uncharted territory in the fire service. A lot of research has gone into what's going on a national basis. And so we are looking not only to establish it, but to really pioneer it for the fire service. So we're extremely excited. We're extremely excited about the assessment and the fruits coming out of that, and then to establish a framework where we can really execute those those recommendations appropriately and then also look long scope so that this is not just a once in a time chance to do things, but really for the future of the organization, to lay it out for what the department will look like, not only today, tomorrow, but in years to come. So we're really excited about it, putting it all together.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chief. This is great news, and I am very, very pleased to see this all moving forward and that it's getting funded. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So on that note, President Gray, I just want to add. Thank you. I just want to add that historically, the way that municipalities measure how they're doing in issues regarding diversity is they measure their liability in total to payouts for, especially for men, for women of color, for people of color and for women. And so on that note, the fact that we're under $10,000 during our tenure from 2014 until today is really historic. And when I tell people that in the legal community, it's almost just, they can't believe it, because there's no municipality, there's no agency in the country that has under $10,000 that they've paid out for discrimination. That's just unheard of. So on those traditional metrics of how we are doing, we're doing fantastic. But I think we're developing a new metric, and we're developing new tools because we've heard from our members that that's not the best way of measuring, workplace culture. So we're going to a new level, and there is no agency. There's no way that there's nobody else who does that. The traditional metrics of how you measure workplace culture and how we're doing, we've met all of those. So, there's something new that we're pioneering here, and it's going to be uncharted territories. It's not going to be smooth sailing. I don't think we should expect that. I do think that it's going to be contentious because that's the nature of this work, and also it's the nature of the culture that we live in. But we should forge ahead anyway. So I'm very supportive. I'm very happy that this is happening, and I'm glad to see it in the budget.
Yes, I know. And I also want to say,
Commissioner Hindenburg.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much, Madam President. Yes, I do want to specify that Sacramento, we are not the first, certainly, but Sacramento has a DEI unit, so it's great to see and follow them and see what they are doing, and also look at best practices so far, and maybe not necessarily in the fire service, but as well as similar industries like PD or military, any type of public safety groups. That's fantastic. I do think that there are 4 pending lawsuits out there as well. So I just want to make sure that we're, just for the record, that's clarified. And I was
even if it's $20,000, we're still at a historic low for this department,
and
which it won't be.
And we also had a 10% approval rating amongst women, sworn women in this department. So I think that is a huge issue. We also had a 56% of women had reported harassment and abuse. So that is a problem.
Commissioners, but can we go back to the budget item?
Yes, thank you.
We're happy that we're having this department that is going to handle, this bureau that is going to handle those issues. And at some time, we'll have that discussion on our agenda, and we'll be able to get more details and more data about it. But at this time, we're looking at the creation of a new bureau that's in the budget. Are there any other comments about any other things? I'm happy to see that Crew 3 might stand a chance of getting paid at some time, because they have been wonderful all along, and I admire their tenacity to volunteer and get the work done. So I'm happy about that. There are a lot of good things in the budget, but that stood out to me as something that's new. Are there any other comments from regarding the budget?
Really quickly on that, the Crew 3, does this help these members get into the fire service, like become
higher? I don't think that's not in the budget.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, we'll save that for the next one, but I'm excited that we're getting these paid, and I'm excited about this bureau as well. So that's it.
Okay, are there any other comments regarding the budget? I have to take my glasses off to see. Oh, that's Chief Fields, I think. We're getting his picture ready for the next. Okay, is there a motion to approve the item?
I so moved.
Is there a second? Oh, where am I? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the item BFC 21. Oh, am I on the right thing? No, BFC 21-119. Ms. Gomez, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes, I just need to confirm it was Commissioner Ibarra for the motion, or I didn't hear properly. Who was the motion and who was
Ibarra. Yeah, Ibarra.
Thank you.
I think we need a second.
And we had a second. Someone seconded.
I seconded.
Thank you.
Okay.
Woods Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Ibarra?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Hara. Thank you, Commissioner Ibarra. Commissioner Ninberg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Let's move on to item B. And I think I see Chief Fields all ready to go. Good morning, Chief Fields.
Good morning, Madam President. Just want to say good morning to Chief Crowley. Good morning, and of course to you, Madam President. It was great. And the fellow commissioners, and welcome to Commissioner Babcock to the department. I believe this is the first time that she's had a chance to be exposed to our UAS program. So welcome aboard. My name is Richard Fields. I'm Assistant Chief, currently assigned to Supply and Maintenance Division, but I continue to lead our UAS program. I'd like to start off certainly by thanking the entire board for their leadership and collaboration on not only the beginning of our program, but in its continued growth and building a solid foundation for its future application. Certainly the fire chief, his vision and support has been fantastic, and certainly like to acknowledge Emergency Operations Chief Hoyer, Chief Mathis, now Chief Crowley. We've been able to collaborate with both chief deputies in advancing the program. And throughout the years, each of the bureaus specifically have not only sought out ways to use the UAS to enhance their capabilities, but have allowed us to showcase the abilities of the UAS in making our firefight safer, regardless of what the scenario is. We've made advancements in the Fire Prevention Bureau due to the support and backing of both Chief Crowley and Chief Mathis. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Dave Danielson, Derek Ward, and Ted Calnis, who continue to be my on-the-ground leadership, because job is kind of taking me away from day-to-day operations. Those gentlemen have continued to lead the program and to expand it across not only the department and the city, but across the United States and internationally as well. Some of our current work right now includes continued collaboration with LADOT. We are the lead agency to assist in the mayor's urban air mobility movement. It is the largest technology and program advancement outside of some of maybe the homelessness effort, but for the future of the city. It's one of the foremost programs that he seeks to advance, and that includes moving people and product using autonomous vehicles. We have collaborated with the DOT, who is actually the lead agency on creating that environment here in the city, but they look to LAFD based on the work that we've done with unmanned technology as the subject matter expert, and we continue to enjoy a great collaborative relationship with them. The FAA and NASA continue to look to us as a premier organization in providing direction and guidance for not only how we build out using UAS in the public space, but how we can translate that into the commercial and private space as well. Some of our future endeavors, we in 2018, LAFCA and the region approved monies being to support the UAS program, and we've continued to develop a regional program that allows all 31 of our regional partners to have input in and develop a program so that pilots that would come from the region are all trained the same, have the same level of professionalism and equipment so that we can support further endeavors. And then in the future, we continue to work with FEMA and the Department of Interior in creating federally based programs. Some of the highlights of our program to date, 34 programs across the United States exist because of the LAFD UAS program and our leadership. The Urban Area Security Initiative through FEMA, we were the first department to be fully accredited and accepted by FEMA to use UASI funding to support UAS programs. The LAFD was the first on the West Coast, the second in the country to receive authorization to fly UAS beyond visual line of sight, which was a huge milestone for our program. And throughout the 2020 year, we have, once the brush clearance program was approved by the board, that program has actually allowed us the best access to the public. We've presented on several occasions to homeowner groups, stakeholder groups in the Mountain Fire District, as well as districts around Brentwood, Mulholland, and other brush areas. And they have unanimously approved and accepted our program and are actually looking for other ways to collaborate with us to use the UAS to continue to keep their neighborhoods safe, which has been a great thing for us. Really proud of that moment. COVID has been a challenge for us. While we intended to be able to expand our program, to continue to put on classes, to build our pilots cadre, we haven't been able to do that. But the UAS has not been dormant. Throughout the COVID effort, we continue to be a powerful logistic tool in mapping the sites for COVID testing. We were able to build assessment models for each subsequent site for traffic flow, for setup and breakdown, which allowed the logistics team to be able to create additional sites throughout the city much quicker because of the information and the mapping that the drones were able to provide. And lastly, just like to mention that we've again, we talked about the drill tower graduations, and I believe the 4 or 5 that we've had during COVID. One of the special things about graduating from the academy is to be able to share it with your families. And because no families or public was able to attend, the drones were able to capture those kinds of special moments and to put the videos and scenes to some narration and to some music, and then provide those to each of the recruits and their families so that they were able to share that moment with those who couldn't be there in person. And then we've been able to support our membership by being present at various funerals, where obviously we couldn't do the normal presentation. We've covered things like that, celebration of life for several of our members, as well as the support for Stevens Nation in support of the fire chief's office. I just want to acknowledge Engineer Robert Smith at Fire Station 55. In his desire to support members in the drill tower. He filmed segments of all 22 weeks of the drill tower to provide that to the drill tower staff and the recruits who graduated in that class. That was recognized in the commercial circle, and that video was actually entered into the Arizona Drone Festival, and he won the award for 2021 for his excellence in presentation. Overall, the UAS program continues to thrive. I won't belabor any more time, but some of the things that we're doing to continue the program are listed in the report. I'm very proud of where we've come, and even where we've had slight mishaps. The fact that we treat the program professionally. All of our pilots act as such. The FAA and regulatory bodies have not only applauded our efforts, but used our reporting and our activity as models for the rest of the UAS community. That concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions for the program.
Thank you, Chief Fields. That's a great report. And you've come a long ways from the time you first started, I remember.
Ma'am.
Thanks for your leadership in that program.
Thank you.
And congratulations to the firefighter who received the award.
Yes, ma'am.
That's wonderful. Are there other comments and questions for Chief Fields?
I have a couple.
Is that Commissioner Ibarra?
So Commissioner Fields, thank you for the report. I'm curious about some of the incidents that we were involved in particular the LAPD, the bomb squad incident. I assume it's the one that was in the northern part of South LA.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what was our role in that?
Just post-incident analysis, mapping to be able to get the footprint of the entire incident for damage assessment, as well as providing some technical information about the blast pattern, heat detection, things like that. We've strictly stuck to the department's policy. The information we obviously did not share or give that information directly to LAPD. We actually did the flight at the request of our arson unit, so it wasn't directly requested by LAPD.
So, I mean, when we first started with the drone program, we had a drone program and LAPD didn't have a drone program. Do they have one?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they do, and directly from following our footprint. They have one platoon in their SWAT team that has a drone, and they are developing a drone program or expanding it to their bomb squad, but I do not know if they've actually launched that segment of the program.
But they got authority to do that or something like that, right?
They got authority, yes, from listening to us. Go figure, but yes.
Okay, good. Also, I noticed that, so you gave us the logs of all the incidents where they've been used. That's what this is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The report. So I noticed that some of them are marked in red, and some of them are in black. Do you know what the red ones refer to?
If you give me a moment, I can pull up the report. I don't have it right in front of me. But I believe at the bottom of the spreadsheet it lists how they're color coded. I believe that they're color coded based on ones that are actually incident related, and then ones that are just training flights. But I can confirm that for you.
Okay, because I wasn't able. I might be missing it, but I didn't see it noted in the report or in the log what the difference was between that. Okay.
I may not have included the difference in that in the color coding, but I'd be happy to do that.
So and then some more follow-ups on the log. So this is part of, because when we passed this rule, we did, one of our key concerns was the transparency, because there is obviously a lot of privacy concerns about drone use. So the logs are part of what we have available for the public, right? So the public knows how we're using our drones and if they're, it's appropriate use. So how long are we keeping our logs?
We maintain these logs indefinitely. And then any flight data, including video and or picture, we are also storing those behind our firewall, our internal servers.
Okay.
And yes, ma'am, I'm looking at the flight data. Yes, the ones that are in red are specific incident-related flights.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good. And then lastly, you are working with the independent assessor to do a review of the logs, right? Like that was part of what part of our guidance to.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. So in all of 2020, of course, we had no meetings with her. In 2019, we did a very exhaustive review of all of our flight data. We were supposed to report. If requested, have a report back to you based on her findings, but none of that ever happened. In 2021, we have not yet met with the independent assessor. However, these are the records that she would be privy to. And we also have all of our flights in CAD now. So we can search CAD records for any time that we launch the UAS. And I'll just mention real quick now, working with the FAA, they have now allowed us they see the value of UAS in all aspects of police and fire work. So there was a time where, say, if we did a training flight, we're covering a non-incident, not be able to fly our certificate of authorization. The FAA, beginning in September of 2021, now allows us to fly all of our flights under our certificate of authorization, which means every flight can then also be logged in CAD as a dispatch for the drone.
Right. So, I mean, I've watched you sort of champion this program for, it's got to be like 6 years now. And it's been a pleasure working with you on this. I do feel like once this is all over for us, and it's going to be all over for most of the commissioners real soon, that this is really one of the things that I'm very proud that we championed and that we worked on, and that we really pioneered for the fire service in a big way, and that we were able to meet the concerns of the public in terms of privacy and other civil liberties, and that we're also meet the operational needs of the department. So, and a lot of that thanks to you, Chief Fields, and thanks to everybody else who's worked on this. It's vital to the operational preeminence of our department that we be able to quickly adopt new technology and meet all the concerns. And I hope that, whoever comes after us can help you do that as well. So thank you so much.
And thank you as well. I appreciate all the support and help.
Are there any other comments or questions for Chief Fields from other commissioners?
I just wanted to say I was
Commissioner
able to
Babcock?
I just wanted to say thank you for the warm welcome and the great presentation. And I was able to see the drone go up at the Academy graduation and watch the video footage afterwards. And it was pretty neat to see it from the air. So I know when they can go back to even doing demonstrations and whatnot for friends and family, it'll be even a greater thing to capture for all of the world to see. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If there are no more comments or concerns for Chief Fields, thank you very much for the thorough report, and thanks for your leadership in this department. Is there a motion to receive and file this report?
Thank you, Chief Fields. Yes, I make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Second. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to receive and file BFC 21-121. Ms. Gomez, would you do a roll call, please?
Let's Gray.
Aye.
Babcock.
Yes.
Hara,
Aye.
thank you. Commissioner Ibarra,
Aye.
Ninberg,
Yes.
motion carries.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's move on to item C. I'm not sure who is doing item C. It's the report of the department on the quarterly fire department diversity report and the deferred retirement option plan forecast reports.
Madam President, that'll be Laura Triner from our Personnel Services section.
Oh, okay, very good. Welcome.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Great. Okay, I was a little concerned. Thank you. This is Laura Triner, a senior personnel analyst from the Personnel Services section. And this report here that you have, there's actually several reports within this report. We have the drop in diversity quarterly reports, which are the reports that we send to you on a quarterly basis. But also in addition to that is the sworn hiring and attrition report that the board had requested. And I kind of want to go through that because there is a lot of numbers on those reports. So if you go to page 16, I'm going to kind of just walk through there because there are a lot of numbers on that report or page. But basically, page 16 through 24, it's all the same data, just by fiscal year. And so we have the data attrition and hiring for 2013 through current. And so on page 16, this is showing the information we have thus far for the fiscal year 2021 through 2022. And if you look on the left-hand side of that first box or table, you'll see that it's broken down by each month. And then along the top, you'll see it's broken down by ethnicity. So under Asian, for example, you'll see male and female, and there's an H and an L. So the H represents hires, and the L represents those that leave. So if you look down those columns, you'll see in July of 2021, we had 3 Asian males that were hired as part of that drill tower. And but during that same month, we did not have any Asians that left. So this is broken down for all the ethnicities. And if you go over to the far right, you'll see the cumulative total of the hires and those leaving for that month. So again, for July 2021, we had a class of 67 that were hired. We had 10 folks that left for that month. Now, some of these months, of course, we haven't gotten to them yet, so it's not a complete for that year. But if you look at the previous pages, you'll see the complete years for 2013 through 2021. If you look down under that main table, you'll see 2 smaller tables. And if you look on the right one, it will show an aggregate total 2013 through 2014. So from that fiscal year, there were a total of 1,340 members hired and 1,177 that left, for a total net of 163 members. So the department went up by 163 members during that time period. And then the next 2 tables, the one to the left of it, shows the breakdown by gender. So we first have the fiscal year 2021 through 22. You can see that there were 104 males hired and 12 females hired, for a total of 116 up to this point. And during that same time period for this fiscal year, we had 25 leave and 4 females leave, for a total of 29. And that net difference right now is 79 and 8. In other words, for the females, there were 12 that were hired, 4 that left, for a balance of 8 additional females at this point. And when you add those numbers to the previous years, which is just below there, below the rows, we have an aggregate of 133 and 30, for a total of 163 members, again, that were hired during that time period. And then right below that, you'll see the percentage difference. So of that 163, 81% are male and 18% are female. And if you look at the column, or excuse me, the table right below that, it has the same breakdown for ethnicity. So you'll see for 2021, we hired 9 Asians, 24 Blacks, 28 Caucasians, 40 Hispanic, 8 Filipino, 2 Native American, and then 5 that were 2 or more races for a total of 116. And then you can see that same breakdown for those members that left during the same time period and the net difference. And finally, you'll see the aggregate difference from 2013. So for example, we are up for 29 agents for that time period, which is 17% of the aggregate, actually almost 18%. For Blacks, it's a difference of 32 or 19.6%. Caucasians, there's a difference of 17, which is 10%. And in Hispanics, you'll see an aggregate difference of 50, which is 30%. Filipino, 21 members, which is 12 or almost 13%. And then Native American and 2 or more races at 8 and 6 respectively, for a total of 163. Now, I wanted to point out that this 163 is only the aggregate difference, and these percentages here are just for that difference. If you want to look at what the actual percentage breakdown of the department is, you would need to look at the table right before that on page 15, which has the overall breakdown by percentages. So again, if you look at pages 17 through 24, it's basically the same information, just broken down by different fiscal years. So that is all I have for the presentation, unless there are any questions.
Oh, the last 2 charts are very helpful. I like the way they're put together. I'm not sure I've seen it that way before. It's clearly separated into all the different groups so that we can really see who's there and what's going on. I like that. Thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Are there any comments or questions or concerns for Laura from the commissioners?
Oh,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Ninberg.
Okay. Hi. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Laura, for putting this together. When you said I'm going to walk you through this, I was so grateful because that was going to be my question about exactly.
Yes, there's a lot of numbers.
I was like, what is happening here? So I appreciate. Right. So the overall. I mean, look, it is a slow process of like getting this, having the city reflect, or having the department reflect the city. I see there are some trends that are good, so I appreciate that. There are, so I thank you for like giving us the aggregate and kind of showing us the trends. I'd like to see this in a graph, maybe be just easier to follow. But I do appreciate just going through the numbers and seeing that they are just certainly of that small percentage net is going into the right direction. Although we have a lot of work to do. Of course, my biggest concern is how the department and the members self-select. And I believe it was Deputy Mayor Brenda Shockley, when she said, we've got to make sure that we have diversity at every level and in every department. So I have a question. This is probably not for you, Laura, probably for Acting Chief Crowley. Is what are the efforts to diversify like let's say AOs, for example. So if you look at AOs, it is which I love how these are broken down because you can see, okay. Like apparatus operators, Caucasians are 54%, they're pretty much 100% of pilots. We have 2 Hispanic pilots, but they're still not represented. And same with women, there's no female pilots. I see inspectors, there's Caucasian males are underrepresented in the Fire Prevention Bureau, but African Americans are overrepresented, like in 33 and 38%. What specifically are we doing as a department to diversify each rank?
Sure. So I can answer that specifically. The good news as we dissect out the statistics and we have to pay attention to it, it's one thing just to keep moving along within what our current process is. It's another thing to really specifically look at the data that we have. So that's why these reports that personnel reports back to us on helps us understand, as big as our department is, where we need to focus our efforts. I can't tell you enough with the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece. That just keeps coming up for the right reasons, meaning organizationally, as we move forward with what that's going to look like for us, every decision, we should always be looking at it with that lens. So as we build out the foundation for this and institutionalize that thought process into everything we do, it's just going to become second nature. It's going to become institutionalized to ensure that every member across the board, every member, sworn and civilian, is given that same opportunity and different assignments that helps them develop and helps them be better as our members across the board. So the good news is we're paying attention. The better news is that we are creating the space and the platform to really move the needle forward when it comes to how we address those issues, within the department. So I can just speak on that holistically. I know that it's right in the forefront of all of our minds for the right reasons, and that'll just make us better organizationally as well as to better serve the community.
No, I greatly, that is very, very reassuring, especially, and I do want to point out that I am deeply concerned that we have, as far as females are concerned, in leadership, in captains, we have 0.6% in captain 2s and 1.81% in captain 1s. We're certainly, females are doing well in the chief's positions, but I don't see a pipeline coming in. So that is deeply concerning. And as far as African Americans, I certainly would like to see more captain 1s coming in and captain 2s, just so that we can backfill. That would be, we just want to make sure. And same with Hispanics. Although wait, hold on a second. No, we're still down on captain 1s. See, right, Caucasian males are 53% captain 1s. So that's the pipeline. If the leadership, we've got to make sure that it's starting there. And I just want to point that out. I know that's probably on your radar, but mentorship programs, focusing on promotions, making sure everyone has access and they're encouraged. I know that is certainly on your forefront. I just want to make sure that we take note of that. And I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Babcock, did you want to? Are there any other comments from commissioners? I just happened to see your picture and I didn't know if you lit up for that. Okay, let's see.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Commissioner Babcock. Is there a second?
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 21-122. Ms. Gomez, who have a roll call, please. Ms. Gomez?
I apologize. I was writing notes. What's Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara. Commissioner Hara. I'll come back to you, Commissioner Hara. You have co-host rights.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Ibarra.
Aye.
Commissioner Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. That's the last item on our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn the
Madam
meeting?
President, before we adjourn, I just want to make sure that we completed the vote on item 4A.
Oh, Dr. Hara wasn't able to cast his vote, so we should go back and ask him now.
Leticia, or I'm sorry, Ms. Gomez, what was the status of the votes? Was Commissioner Hara the last commissioner to vote on that item?
He was not able to vote because he was not on at the time.
Right. Was his vote the last one that was missing?
Correct.
Okay. If we could just have
take
him
up for that item again.
Yes, that would be great.
Thank
just
you.
For clarity, thanks.
Commissioner Hara, we are taking the item on the agenda 4A again out of turn. Thank you. Noted.
Okay, very good. Now, I think that our business is complete. Is there a, thank you, Chief Crowley, for sitting in today. And we are at the point for adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
The second. Okay, Ms. Gomez.
Was
roll call, please. Aye.
Babcock.
Yes.
Hara. Commissioner Hara.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Ibarra.
Yes.
And Commissioner Ninberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.